I'm Steve Buckley from ProDrive Consulting, behind the camera this time. Don't have to look at my ugly mug. We're going to talk a little bit about cornering and how you position the vehicle. So going down the road here, we're looking up and picking up those cornering lines. Now, if you haven't checked it out, you may want to check out the video on steering, but the actual position of the vehicle is what we're talking about today. This sign tells us it's a left-hand bend. I'm going to stay a little bit to the outside here. Going to tuck it in like that. It's different for a left hand and a right hand corner, because when we're going left, we're turning into the traffic. When we're turning right around the corner, we're moving away from the traffic. So for example, we're going to take this nice tight right hand turn here. We're going to stay to the outside. It gives us a chance to look all the way through the corner. Then we tuck in at the back end, boom, staying away from the inbound traffic. We have a little connected turn here, left, right, bend. I'm going to stay to the outside, going to the left. Why? Because when I go left, I'm going into oncoming traffic. So I want to stay a little bit high here. Stay a little bit high. Look through the corner. Look through the corner, then maybe tighten it up at the back end. High, low, high again is a racing line, because you're trying to get through the corner at the straightest possible line, but also at the quickest possible speed. That's not what we're talking about when we're driving out in public. Now, one of the downsides to staying high at the entrance of a corner when you're turning right is that you're staying closer to the inbound traffic. So it's really up to the driver to determine where they want to be. A lot of people will just stay right in the middle of the corner. I like to open the corner up, meaning I like to stay a little bit high at the entrance of my corners. A law enforcement line is high, high, low. They stay high at the entrance, high at the apex, middle of the corner, then tuck in deep at the back end. That's a high, high, low. Exactly what this is there. See how we tuck it in, high, high, low? That technique opens the corner up so you can see around the corner just a little bit better, and it doesn't bring you down towards the center line too soon, especially at the apex of the corner. Not a good place to be if you have inbound traffic. Now we're going to carry a little bit more speed going on this this back end here. Going straight, we have this slight rise. We're going to slow just a little bit on the rise, just to give us a little bit more time to react. If a vehicle is coming in the opposite direction, no one's there. Beautiful. Little whoop-de-doo here, up, down. Now looking high, up into what we call the event horizon, as far as we can possibly see. The event horizon tells us got a couple corners coming up here. So again, I'm going to stay a little bit high, and then we're going to tuck in, boom, like that, set for the right hand corner, and see that connects perfectly with the high-low cornering technique, because we had a connected corner. So when you start high at the entrance of a connected, and you go low in the center, again, the racing line a little bit, that starts the second corner even before you get to it, so you have more time to react, and the vehicle balance doesn't shift the weight as much. You don't want to shift weight in the middle of a corner, and how you enter the corner has a lot to do with how much you shift the weight. Now typically, depending on the speed at which I'm going into a corner, there's three components to cornering. There's the entrance speed, there's the apex speed, and the exit speed. So I slow at the beginning, I come off the brake, I coast through the corner. At the back end, I accelerate. I go into the corner at the speed at which I want to maintain. I don't want to slow down in the middle of a corner or speed up in the middle of a corner. That completely disrupts the balance of the vehicle. So the entrance speed is the speed at which I'm going to try to carry all the way through the corner. That neutralizes the balance of the vehicle, the lateral weight transfer of the vehicle. When you're turning, that's what you're doing. You're shifting the lateral weight from side to side. Acceleration and braking, that's linear, front to back and back to front. Accelerating, it moves back. Braking, it moves forward. None of those components, those vehicle dynamics, you want to mess around with as you're cornering. I'm going to start high and then tuck down, and boom, very gentle vehicle dynamic. I enter the corner at the speed at which I want to maintain, and at that point I basically coast through the corner, turn the steering wheel, input steering, and maintain that lock steer. And then when we're out and facing the direction we want to go, that's when I press the gas pedal. If you press the gas pedal too soon, what happens is when the vehicle dynamics are changed, when there's steering inputted, so basically when you're going around a corner, say we're going around a left-hand corner, and you increase the speed in the middle or at the exit of the corner, the vehicle pushes to the outside, centrifugal force. You don't want to do that. Let the vehicle balance stay as neutral as possible. You accelerate, then you have to input steering to compensate for the dynamics. If you accelerate at the back end of a corner, you have to tighten the steering up so it doesn't push you across the center line or over the fog line. So the other aspect of cornering are these turns we make in town, these fairly sharp, sometimes 90-degree turns, whether it's left or right. So when I'm positioning the vehicle essentially for a turn, I try to stay a little bit to the outside so I have more radius, more middle of the turn I can play with. I can stay to the outside, I can tuck it in to the inside, but again, it depends on if you're moving through the corner or if you come to a red light like we are now and the vehicle is static and then you have to move and make a turn. So in this one, stay to the outside a bit because we're going to go to the outside right turn lane, but because I positioned the vehicle a little bit to the outside, I had more room to turn. Now we have a tight right-hand turn coming up. I'm going to stay just a bit to the outside. I'm going to offset the vehicle, meaning I'm going to come in and I'm going to sort of pitch the vehicle just a bit to the right. That way, part of the turn is already started before I actually enter the turn. That way I have to steer less and I have more radius. Got some people walking with a puppy here. Can't really go anywhere until they cross. But notice again, the vehicle is offset once they clear. There we go. All I have to do is input a very minimal amount of steering and the turn is done. All right, there we go. That is your cornering quick driving bit. I'm Steve from ProDrive Consulting, and I'll see you on the next video.